I discovered that my husband was cheating on me and my stepdaughter was even helping him hide it. So I decided to use her college fund that I created on myself and then filed for divorce. Now they are both suddenly sorry and want me to reconcile with them. I, 42F, have been with my soon-to-be ex-husband David, 44 meters, for 15 years, and out of those 15 years, we have been married for 10. I have loved him more than anybody in this world. He also has a daughter, Stacy, 17F, from a previous relationship. He and Stacy's mother were never married, they had only had a short fling for about a couple of months, but then she got pregnant and decided to keep the baby. They had broken up just a couple of weeks before she realized she was pregnant. They had decided to have a cordial relationship after that so they could co-parent the baby later, and there were not really any feelings involved. However, she unfortunately passed away when Stacy was just 6 months old in a car accident. After that, it was just him and his daughter. He had told me in the beginning of our relationship that he was not just looking for a wife but also someone who would be a good mother to Stacy, and I was up for it because I loved kids, and she was really young at the time. Stacy was just that he had a daughter. I was ready to accept her as my own and raise her like that. Right from the beginning, I had been very serious about our relationship, and after 5 years of dating, we decided to get married. Our life had its ups and downs, but at the end of the day, I always thought that he loved me just as much as I loved him. I had absolutely no reason to believe that he might have been cheating on me because even up until a couple of months ago, we had been talking about celebrating our 10th marriage anniversary with a family trip to some exotic place, and he had been pretty excited about it. People who cheat on their wives don't act that excited about a trip with their family, so I really hadn't seen this coming. Anyway, about 6 days ago, I found out that he had been cheating on me for the past 7 months with his coworker. I had just been at work, minding my own business, when I received an email from said coworker. It had all the details of their affair, and she had even attached proof of text conversations, phone calls, and even pictures of them together at places on days that he had told me he would be away for business trips, but those trips were really just romantic getaways with his affair partner, which I had no idea about. I was in shock when I received that email and went home immediately, not knowing what else to do. Nobody was at home at the time because Stacy was spending the day with her friend and David was at work, so I took the time to reread those emails very carefully once again because I did not want to have a breakdown at work. I realized that she had also attached her phone number in case I wanted to speak to her. She had told me that the reason she was doing this and coming clean to me about the affair was that she knew that I would never do that, and she felt like I deserved to know the truth. Apparently, for the last few months, he had been promising her that he would tell me the truth and end things with me because she was not comfortable going around having an affair with a married man. I guess her conscience had kicked in all of a sudden or whatever, but anyway, apparently David had been promising her that he was going to tell me the truth, and I even had screenshots of that. He had told her that he was going to end the marriage with me and be with her wholeheartedly. Now she had believed him the first few times, but then it had been almost 3 months and he still hadn't told me, so she had decided to take matters into her own hands and tell me the truth herself. After reading that email in its entirety, I decided to think about it for a while and then went ahead and called her because the worst had already happened. I was still kind of in denial, so I felt that maybe speaking to her would make me realize that this was not some prank, it was really happening. When I spoke to her, she started off by apologizing to me and said that she really did not have any intention of ruining my marriage but had just fallen in love with David, and that's really the reason why she was telling me the truth. Then she went on to explain how the affair had started, how long it had been going on, and all the promises that he had made to her, which were the same promises that he had made to me in the initial stages of our relationship. My heart just kept breaking more and more with every word that she said to me, and by the end of that conversation, I was convinced that there could be nothing more heartbreaking than that conversation. But then she told me that apparently Stacy had also known about all of this all along and had been helping him cover up his tracks. That's what absolutely shattered me because, in my head, I had always been Stacy's mother and had never thought of her as a stepdaughter. I had known that girl since she was 2 years old and had raised her as my own, so knowing that she had also betrayed me felt like the end of the world. Honestly, his coworker let me know that apparently, every time he would need to lie to me or cover up for me, Stacy would make up excuses for his absence and why he was not picking up his calls. In exchange for keeping her mouth shut, he would buy her several expensive gifts, and that explained a lot of things that had been happening recently. Like, David had been totally spoiling her, and that hadn't been the case before, but I just thought that he was doing well at work, which is why he was trying to buy her nice things. He had also given me a lot of jewelry and clothes, so I had just assumed that this new habit of giving us gifts so frequently was because of how he was doing at work, but I guess not. Anyway, getting to know that Stacy had also been a part of this and had even met her father's affair partner several times and had kept it a secret from me all along broke me even more than knowing that David had been cheating on me. So after that phone call, I decided to pack up my things and move out of that house because I just did not want to stay there anymore and wait for the two of them to come back home. I felt betrayed, and I just couldn't even stop crying. I did not want to give David the satisfaction of seeing me like that, So I packed up a couple of things and then drove to a hotel out of town and turned my phone off because I honestly did not want to be contacted by anybody. I was very upset that day and just drank myself to sleep in the hotel room. The next morning, I finally had to turn my phone back on because I had to call in sick to work, and I realized that I had about 1,000 unanswered texts and missed calls from David and Stacy, but I did not feel like responding to any of that. But I also noticed that I had one unread text from this guy at the car dealership whom I had been talking to because I had been planning on buying a new car. The reason I had been holding back so far was that I wanted to save some more money before I purchased it since it was pretty expensive, and I also had that anniversary trip to look forward to, so I had been saving for that, and Stacy's 17th birthday was also coming up, which is why I'd been thinking about gifting her a new car instead of buying one for myself. Anyway, when I saw that text, I remembered how I had been planning on giving Stacy a car for her birthday, and it just filled me with so much anger. In a moment of anger, I decided that I was just going to focus on making myself happy without caring about anybody else. The guy from the car dealership had texted me to ask if I was still planning on buying the car that I had selected, and on an impulse, I decided to go down to the place immediately myself and bought myself a shiny new luxury car. I did not have any plans of buying that car since it was way out of my budget, but I did not need to worry because for the past 10 years, ever since I married David, I had been saving up and setting aside a college fund for my stepdaughter. I had decided to give Stacy access to that account as a surprise whenever she announced which college she was going to be attending and had been pretty excited about it. But now that I knew what had been going on for the past couple of months, I had no interest in surprising anybody apart from myself. I used money from that account to buy myself a luxury car, and then I decided to drive it down to our house and finally confront my husband and my stepdaughter. They tried to hug me and tell me how worried they were the entire night as soon as I showed up, but I didn't even give them a second and immediately announced that David's coworker had reached out to me, and now I knew the full truth of what had been going on behind my back. I was really disappointed in both of them. Both of them looked really shocked, and David at least had the sense not to say anything because he knew that the jig was up. Then Stacy tried to talk to me and said that she was just trying to look out for her father and was confused because she did not know what to do. She started crying, saying that she had just been very confused because she loved us both equally and wanted us to be happy, but I did not buy that act at all because I thought she was old enough to know what was the right thing to do, and she chose to do the wrong thing on purpose. Besides, I'm pretty sure that those gifts that she was receiving from her father helped her to stay quiet about this entire situation. I did not buy a word that she was saying, and I told her as much. I was very pissed off and quite upset, so I even announced that I was leaving David. I think he should have seen it coming because I don't think anybody in my place would have decided to make it work even after getting to know something like this. I told Stacy that even more than David, I was disappointed by what she had chosen to do. Husbands cheat all the time, and it's not the first or last time that this will happen to a woman, but I had always expected Stacy to have my back. Even though we were not related, I had never thought of her as my stepdaughter and had loved her just like my own, probably even more. It was her lies and betrayal that had hurt me even more than what her father had done. So I had decided that the college fund that I had been setting aside for her all these past years was not something that she was worthy of anymore, and I would be leaving both of them behind. It was not easy for me to say that, and I almost choked up because this had been my family for the past 15 years. But after telling her this, I decided to walk out without even giving them a chance to explain and went back to the hotel. They kept calling me, but I did not stop, and they even followed me out. I'm pretty sure they saw the new car I got and drove away as quickly as I could. After that, I had wanted to block them, but I just couldn't do it because emotionally, I'm still struggling to process whatever is going on with me. For the past 5 days, they have been trying really desperately to get back in touch with me and keep texting me almost every hour, keep trying to call me, but I just don't know what to say to them. So I just read all their messages and let it be. David had been trying to get me to forgive him for the first couple of days, but when he realized that it was pointless, he started trying to tell me that he was sorry about what he had done and knew that I deserved better. But he just wanted me to reconsider whatever I was doing to Stacy because she was just a child and did not deserve to suffer because of what he had done. Even Stacy had been texting me along the same lines, trying to convince me that she had been wrong and she knew that, but she just wanted me to give her a second chance and that she had always thought of me as her mother and was terribly sorry about everything. I'd been ignoring all of that, but then yesterday I received a text from David that said that he was sick of apologizing without any response and that he needed to know if I had any intention of coming back to the family or not. That really pissed me off because it was he who had messed up, and now he had no right to take that tone with me. So I texted him back immediately and said that I had already spoken to a lawyer and filed for divorce, which was not true. I was still trying to process everything and hadn't had the chance to speak to a lawyer yet, but he didn't need to know that. Then he did not reply for about an hour, and when he finally did, he sent me a long message about how I was not just being selfish but I was also the villain, apparently, for choosing to act this way. He said that he was fine with me filing for a divorce and choosing to leave him, but the fact that I was also choosing to leave Stacy behind just showed how selfish I was. He told me that apparently, Stacy had been devastated ever since I had left, and the fact that I had even said that I was going to get the college fund that I had been setting aside for her had really hit her hard because he had also known about this college fund. That was the reason why he had not bothered to save up enough money. I do recall mentioning the college fund to him several times. He knew that I had been saving it to surprise Stacy, but I did not know that he did not have any money set aside apart from her college tuition. Anyway, he told me I had said I was not going to give her access to the money. They had realized that they were in big trouble because he did not have any set aside, and she had been thinking about going to college out of state, which would have been even more expensive. She knows that she's going to get accepted into her college, but now there's a big question mark about whether she's going to be able to go to the college of her choice or not because of the financial constraints. He thinks that I am a bad guy for rubbing this in her face and saying that I won't let her have access to her college fund, even though I had been saving that money with the intention of giving it to her eventually. The fact that I'm using this one little mistake against her to be selfish because he had seen my new car just doesn't make any sense to him, and he thinks that I should really reconsider this. Now I feel very conflicted about what to do. The way he's putting it, I don't feel comfortable being the person who takes things away from children just to teach them a lesson or to punish them because I've never been that. I don't want to be that parent. But at the same time, Stacy is not exactly a child, and she knew what she was doing was wrong. I don't know. I feel like she's disappointed me, so what I'm doing is not exactly all that wrong. I'm just very confused. Update 1. Hey, I'm so sorry that I could not give you guys an update for the past 2 weeks. It's just that I had been really busy with work and with my lawyer, so there were a lot of things on my plate. But now I have some time, so first and foremost, let me just thank everybody who commented on my original post and showed me so much love and support. I am really happy to know that people resonated with my story. I'm just really thankful from the bottom of my heart, knowing that there were people who were supporting me, even though they were complete strangers, made it a lot easier to deal with everything. So anyway, after David sent me that text and I made that post, I decided that I did not need to entertain any of this. Most of the comments on my post said the same thing, that I needed to block him and file for divorce as quickly as I could so that I could finally kick him out of my life, and that's what I did. Within the next couple of days, I had actually spoken to a lawyer and filed for divorce. I also decided that I did not need to give Stacy the college fund because even if I had been her biological parent, I still wouldn't have had to give her money for her to be able to go to her dream college. She should have thought about these things before she helped her father cheat on me. You can't hit me in the back and then expect me to turn around and give you a smile. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter how old you are or who you are. It's just not how this works. Besides, the thing that David said about her being punished for what he had done was not even accurate or true. She was being punished for what she had done, and I made it very clear when I had spoken to them in person the last time that I went home. I was refusing to give her the college fund because she was the one who refused to do the right thing in the first place and tell me about her father's affair. So it's for that, and I think I'm being fair. If they want to be mad about it, they are completely welcome to do so, but I'm not going to entertain that, and I really don't need to. Which is why I've blocked them, and now they have no access to me whatsoever. They are still trying to contact me by calling me through other numbers, trying to text me from other numbers, emailing me from fake accounts, and all of that, but it doesn't matter because all I do is just read these texts and emails and ignore all of it. I finally received word about what was going to happen with the divorce, and thankfully David is not contesting anything. I hope that we are going to be able to have a peaceful and amicable divorce. It has been almost 3 weeks since I found out that he had been cheating on me, and life has really changed. I had been living in the hotel up until last week, but then it was getting too expensive. Even though I did have the money and the means to stay there for a couple of more weeks and months if I wanted, I decided that I did not want to be wasteful. So, I have moved in with a friend of mine, and she's been gracious enough to let me stay with her until I am able to find an apartment of my own. I have also started considering therapy for myself because my friend is a licensed professional and she told me that it's really going to help me out in the long run, so I'm thinking about it. The biggest change, perhaps, is the fact that I have quit my job. It's a huge deal because I've been working nonstop for more than 20 years. I think I started working as soon as I graduated from college, and even before that, I had been working part-time. But I really think I need a break right now. I have enough money to do whatever I want, and saving for all those 10 years is really going to come in handy now because I'm thinking about taking a break for a couple of months, realigning my life, and starting my own business. That had always been the plan, but I had decided to delay it so that I would only start something of my own after Stacy had left for college, and I did not really need to worry about money that much. But now nobody is holding me back, and I can do whatever I want. So, that's the plan. I'm going to use these couple of months to build a business model and look for investors and all that jazz. I'm really excited for the future, even though I am still very upset about what's going on. I have spoken to my parents about the divorce. I hadn't let them know so far because I was still struggling to process it myself. But now, after speaking to my parents, I made the announcement on social media as well. I did not mention any reason, I just stated that I was getting divorced and that was it. All my close friends and family members know what's going on anyway, and the only people that I really care about. So, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Life's been complicated for the past few weeks, but now that the divorce proceedings are going to start, and we are going to meet with a mediator in the next couple of days, I'm hoping to wrap this up and finally be able to move on for good. Update 3. Hi, so David and I are going to meet with a mediator tomorrow. It's weird knowing that I'm going to have to see him after almost 1 month of having no contact with each other. I'm already nervous and anxious enough for that meeting. Just half an hour ago, Stacy sent me an email. She had stopped sending me anything after 2.5 weeks of no contact, and I thought she was not interested in speaking to me anymore. I had even assumed that this email would be about how she was and how she wanted to pay for her college tuition. But to my surprise, she sent me an entire apology, and this actually seemed genuine because she hadn't even mentioned anything about the funds or whatever. She said that she was really genuinely apologetic for what she had done, that she had been selfish and hadn't even thought about how I would feel when I would finally find out the truth. She knew that she had broken my heart even more than David had, and she didn't know if she would ever be able to make things right with me, but she genuinely meant it when she said that she had always looked up to me as a mother and she really did love me. She also explained that all those gifts that David had been giving her were from a manipulator, and she knew that his affair partner had made it seem like she was doing it out of her own accord. But she still insisted that it was more because she had been manipulated into keeping her mouth shut rather than her actually wanting to keep secrets from me. I don't know what to believe. Maybe she had actually been manipulated and that's why she hadn't said anything to me. She insisted that she was confused and didn't know what to do because she knew that her father was doing the wrong thing, and he kept buying her gifts only to buy her silence. But at the same time, it was her father, and she did not want to go against him. However, in doing so, she was betraying me, and she had been feeling very conflicted for the past couple of months. I want to believe her, I really do, but after everything that has happened, I really don't know. I was already feeling very anxious and jittery, and after reading that email, I feel even more weird about everything. I miss her terribly, and I also miss David. But I know that I need to learn to be able to live life on my own since I've learned the hard way that I can't just trust people, not even my closest ones. So I guess I'm going to have to keep up the no contact rule. Update 4. So it's been a couple of months since my last update. The divorce is going to be finalized in a couple of weeks now, and I'm finally going to be able to move on. The negotiations were pretty easy. The hard part was actually just having to see him at those meetings. I don't know what I felt whenever I saw him. It was like a mixture of anger, hurt, and just an immeasurable sadness. But I got through it somehow, and now I'm done. I've also been able to find a new apartment for myself and have moved. I've been living by myself for the past couple of weeks, and it's been nice. My friends and family visit me almost every other day to make sure that I'm doing all right, and I really think it's very sweet of them. I have company most of the time, and I don't get to feel lonely. But I know that eventually, these visits are not going to remain as frequent as they are now. I'm going to have to make my peace with the fact that I am a single woman now, and I'm still trying to make my peace with it. I have also started therapy, and it's going to take a while for me to accept and process everything that has happened, but I know I'm going to be able to do it somehow. I have had no contact with David since the last mediation session. However, even though it's not easy, it's been different. In my last update, I said something about an email that she had sent me and how she had stated that she had been manipulated. I couldn't bring myself to trust her back then because everything was just too fresh. But recently, last week, I decided to reply to that email. She had been sending me emails after that as well. She did not mention anything about the college fund and would just keep me updated on what was going on in her life. It was more like a one-way street where she would keep trying to talk to me, and I just shut her out. However, every time she would send me an email, my heart would break, and I would just keep crying after reading because even though nothing sad was going on in her life, I just really missed the kid. So I decided to reach out to her and told her that I really missed her. Nothing else. I still maintained that she was not getting the college fund, but she responded to that email saying that she didn't mind. She didn't deserve it anyway, and she had decided that she was going to go to a college near home and give up on her dream college because she didn't want to bother her father with a student loan. Even if she had asked him to apply for one and become a co-signer with her, he would have refused. He has been very clear on that front, and they're going to have to make do with the money that they do have. He's going to help her out as much as he can, but she's also going to have to contribute and work her way through college like most of us have, and she's fine with that, or so she says. Anyway, we have been sending emails back and forth, and I told her that I would love to rebuild the connection that I had with her, but I need my time because after everything that has happened, I just can't process anything right now. She understands that. She told me that I can take as much time as I need because she has betrayed my trust, and she knows it. So I don't know what's going to happen from this point onwards, but I'm just hoping for the best. Fingers crossed.